So, I'll just pop. Alright, I would like to talk about spiritual abuse, and the reasons why I want to talk about this today is due to a lot of things which, well, there's a few reasons. I mean, I've been obviously racking my brains as to what to talk about regarding my ethics presentation, which I still haven't written, but anyway, after having had a couple of days totally uninspired, I mean seriously, ridiculously uninspired, due to, let's just say, inspiration has hit, and I thought I'll talk about something which has been ever present in my life, and I am by no means alone here, because the way that the world is these days, I don't think I know anybody who hasn't experienced spiritual abuse in one form or another. We are living in a world which is run in a way to keep people as detached from their spirituality as possible. And the reasons why that is because obviously if you are in touch, well, I always say that we need to be balanced between mind, body and soul, and by soul I mean spirit, because obviously that is the way to a happy life, to be balanced between the three elements, because, well, yeah, just that is it basically. The balance between the three is what you need to have a happy and stable and, you know, a good life. So more on that a little bit later. Now, I did write a few notes because I quite like the idea of, well, I'm just trying to get into the system where I write notes, because I'm thinking about the talk I need to do for ethics. All the time I'm thinking about this at the moment. So let's see. Okay, the first thing that I would like to do, now this actually has taken me to a whole different way to how I was originally going to talk about this, but first and foremost, let's break the word down. Spiritual abuse. And I can't believe like what I saw when I realised, by breaking the word down, exactly what happened. Now, oops. That was my mirror. So, oh gosh, and that's the microphone I'm whacking things on top of. So I think we'll just move those away from the computer. Okay, I'll just show you who's behind me. I don't know, can you see? There's little Ben's there, and Merlin is just here, purring away. And I'm perched. Because of the window here, it's like practically impossible to have the computer in any way normal. So the computer's over here, and I'm like, literally, I'm perched right on the edge of the sofa. But anyhow, excuse me. And so breaking the word down, spiritual abuse. Now I broke it down, so, and I realised, oh my God, you've got ritual in there. So before the ritual, well, we'll go to the SPI bit, the SPI. We're going to leave that till the end. And the reason why is because, oh, that broke down ridiculously long. So obviously you've got your ritual there. And I think that's quite self-explanatory really. But I did look up a dictionary definition. Let's just bear with me a moment and I'll find where I've written it. Ah, here we are. So yeah, a ritual, according to the dictionary, is a repeated set of actions. Now then, going on to the abuse side of things. Ab. Now that means in Latin, father. Now, we can take that a little bit further, because there is a word for God where you can call him Abba, which means it's a bit like calling him Daddy. So that's nice, you know. It is actually in the Bible. He is referred to as Abba in the Bible, and people who are really close do actually prefer to call God Abba rather than God, which is, you know, that's nice. But anyway, back to what we're talking about here. Obviously, the use thing is using, you know, to use. So, abuse, you know, there's different ways we can look at this. We can break that word down and make it positive, actually. You could make it into a positivity thing. So you are using your father. The problem is, I think, with the duality in the world, that in this case, it's abusing what should be a God-given good thing, and turning it around and making it something negative and bad, because obviously abuse is never positive, is it? Moving on to the SPI bit of spiritual. Now, initially I'm thinking, oh, you know, you could almost say spy, which, yeah, you could. Like, you could turn that into spy. However, I wanted to stick with the correct spelling, so I thought, well, let's just see if SPI, S-P-I, means anything. And sure enough, it does, because it breaks down to meaning, it actually does mean, which language was this in? I think it was, I can't read my own notes here. Well, to be honest, you would have to look it up yourself, because I can't see where I've written which derivative this is. But if you put SPI, S-P-I, into Wikipedia's dictionary, it'll give you the definitions. And it's very interesting. It means to sleep or rest in a state of altered consciousness. So I found that really interesting, given that we're talking about spiritual, as in, well, basically, you to sleep / rest in a state of altered consciousness, along with your ritual. Now, of course, let me just remind everybody here, spiritual is a positive word, it's not a negative word. I'm breaking it down and looking at it from the angle of how people can be spiritually abused. Everything is open to a positive and a negative. So you can see how an altered state of consciousness, when you're in touch with your spiritual side, you can see, for example, how that is like being in an altered state of consciousness to your normal physical state. Let me just move on here, though, because there's a lot of abbreviations which use the SPI part of spiritual, and a couple of really interesting ones were, now you see, this is a problem. I've gone off here on a tangent, which I think should really just be a completely different post. But I'll try and keep this brief. Basically, there is a group which is from San Francisco. There was two groups, actually, interestingly, which turned out to be from San Francisco, which used this SPI, is the initials of the names of their group. So, okay, I'll talk actually about this one first because it's shorter. And that is the Society for Philosophical Inquiry. It's a non-profit organisation propagating a version of Socratic inquiry through established regular meetings. So let's see. All walks of life are welcomed. And basically, they are pretty much what they say. They're a philosophical group that base their philosophizing on Socrates. Now, Socrates, interestingly enough, his main influences were 3 women in his life, who he called his teachers, one being his mother, the other one was a witch and priestess, and the other one was a mistress of one of his friends. And also, Socrates was massively influenced by mystery religions and reincarnation. Now, he's known for one of his famous sayings is, "What I do not know, I do not think I know." Which I just thought it was interesting because, you know, he's not really a spiritual figure, you know. He's a philosophizer, and it's more what you see and what you can touch, and certainly not, although of course he knew about the occult and all that side, that isn't what he was promoting. I'm trying to run through this so that we can go back to talking about spiritual abuse in its more traditional forms, which we all seem, we all have in our lives. But the other group which which broke down to the SPI are a group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Now, this is just mind-blowing, really. This is a group whose mission statement is, well, hang on, is there something where, right, oh God, okay, right, their mission statement, well, first of all, they were founded in 1979. Their mission statement is, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence is a leading order of queer nuns. In other words, this is quoted. I'm not calling them queer. That's what they call themselves. And this is a quote. Since our first appearance in San Francisco on Easter Sunday 1979, the sisters have devoted ourselves to community service, ministry and outreach to those on the edges, and to promoting human rights, respect for diversity and spiritual enlightenment. We believe all people have a right to express their unique joy and beauty, and we use humour and irrelevant wit to expose the forces of bigotry, complacency and guilt that chain the human spirit. Interestingly, they have 13 houses and 6 missions across the USA, and globally they have 600 members working in missions across 9 further countries. I mean, look at the numbers here. Straight away there, you've got 3 6s and a 13. Now it gets better, or should I say worse. They wear nuns' clothes and choose names and imagery related to Catholicism, but suggesting sexual promiscuity. E.g., now these are a couple of name examples: Sister Anita Blowjob, Sister Glad Ass of the Joyous resurrectum. They say they want to minister to the spiritual needs of the communities. I mean, seriously, how are these people going to administer to the spiritual needs of people when they are spiritually malfunctioning themselves? Now, I thought this was quite interesting. They wear white face makeup and do ceremonies, including this is an example of one of their ceremonies. Sister Perpetual Indulgence Hunky Jesus competition. And also one of their symbols, of course, is the rainbow flag, which, you know, that's very, the whole thing's all very like New World Order-esque and all very satanic, because it's as far away from anything pure and truly spiritual as you can get. I mean, they run around in like nuns' habits with these ridiculous names. It's absolutely scandalous. They say that their mission is to promote universal joy and to I can't even say the word now. Excuse me. And expiate. Oh God, why can't I say it? I can normally. All right, okay. They want to put a focus on stigmatic guilt, as in getting rid of. In another interesting fact, they see Halloween as their gay holy day and to be celebrated as their gay holy day. So, right, that pretty much covers these two elements of groups which are using, like I said, the SPI from spiritual. Now we're going to move away from that, and we're going to just talk about spiritual abuse in its more regular formats, which day to day, you know, we all have experienced in one form or another. And I'd like to clarify something really right off the bat here. And, well, first off, all of this is mind control. Any form of spiritual abuse is mind control. And we are living in a time where everybody is mind controlled. You don't have to be from MK Ultra or an MK Ultra sub-project to be under mind control. Everyone on this planet is under forms of mind control. And basically, deprogramming from mind control is unraveling the lies and getting to the truth, which we are kept as far away from as possible, because everybody here has, everyone's programmed. Everyone is programmed. I mean, how many people or parents don't have televisions? That's programming. Watching a television's programming. Putting your kids in front of cartoons, that's programming your kids. It's going on all the time. I really think there's a problem in that people seem to think that the only programmed people are people who have been in government black ops. That isn't the case. You know, obviously I'm not saying that everybody's got split personalities and is accessible via sleeper programs, because not everybody is. However, everybody has programming, and basically deprogramming is unraveling the matrix of lies that have been placed within your consciousness. So, yeah, I've been dying to say that for ages. So let's see. Now I'll just see what else I've scribbled in notes. Oh yeah, let's just talk about Christianity for a moment, or religion, should I say. a lot of people, I think, seem to, it's interesting, a lot of people, well, for example, I'm definitely labelled as a Christian, which, yes, I am Christian, but I'm trying to think how to put this across right. When I did the basis interviews, I've always been a Christian myself. Unfortunately, because of the infiltration in the church, that means that religion is infiltrated. Of course it is. The way to the truth is via Christ. But if everybody knew that, then everybody would be hoo-haing the way to the truth, to a way for freedom. So instead they program everyone to believe, for example, all the alien stuff. It's true in that the demonic, all of these aliens which people are having experiences with, which believe are abducting them and all the rest of it. It is true in a way because it is really happening to these people. The experiences are genuine. It's just that the way that they have been taught to believe that they are real, that's where the lie is. So, although I think the problem is for people who have these experiences with aliens and stuff, I'm calling them that just for argument's sake at this moment in time, they don't want to believe, I'm sure, that, because some of the deception is to have people believing that these beings are good and that they're helping them. Now, who wants to wake up one day and take on board the fact that those beings that they are relating to as family members even are actually demons, which are, what's the word I'm looking for? Deceiving them. Nobody would want to accept that as the truth. So it's actually more comforting and easier and less traumatic for these people to carry on thinking, oh no, that's just Christian nonsense, religious nonsense, sorry, and Christianity is not true anyway. It's proven that the Bible's been like this and that and the other. Well, yes, the Bible has been changed around by man, but the thing is, God's more powerful than a group of men, and there is power in the words of the Bible, because if you're reading it from the perspective of Holy Spirit, then the words do actually come alive. It's quite hard for me to explain, but yeah, I can see why people are really wary. Unfortunately, that again is programming. People taught to think this way, and I've missed out saying something so important. People are programmed to believe, so that even the word Jesus or Christ is a trigger word which sets the barriers off immediately. People can, maybe they've been tortured, people that have been in programs, maybe they, but not only that, people in normal day-to-day life, the level of well, I call it underhand programming which goes on to keep people away from Christ. It's just ridiculous. There's so much going on out there. Just for example, I mean, I've been at college, about 6 weeks or something? And in my day-to-day lessons, the inference for anybody who is a believer and has a relationship with God, it definitely is that if you are that way, then you're very primitive, because obviously we all know these days that that's not true, kind of thing. It's never, of course, said that you shouldn't, because they can't do that. They can't say that you shouldn't believe in that stuff. They can't, like, say that, but they can infer it. In fact, that's a constant factor all my life long. That's been inferred, because if you're growing up amongst people who are intellectuals, they believe that religion is basically for people who didn't know anything, and knowledge, which, well, basically they believe knowledge is the truth, and you're crazy to believe that there's this man who created all this stuff. Well, yeah, that would be crazy, because God's not a man. You know, so that's true. But that's how they like to portray it. And so, you know, this is all falling, of course, under spiritual abuse. I'm talking quite quickly, and I apologise about that. It's just my friend's calling around in 20 minutes. So I'm trying to whiz through this, and there's a lot to cover. So I hope that I'm not being too all over the place and you're managing to keep up with me. So what else did I want to talk about? Okay, so the New Age elements. Now this is a real problem, because I have a lot of friends who are very spiritually awakened, but unfortunately for them, it's definitely from a New Age perspective. And I can recognise that, because I myself have definitely been very New Age in the past. Not in a really overt way, but definitely without realising it. For example, in the past, there was things such as astral projection, speaking to spirits. I'm trying to think of stuff. Well, they're two great examples right off the bat. Well, I thought that if you can speak with the dead, or if you're astrally projecting, I thought that it's like a sign of spiritual advancement, and like a way of climbing up the ladder to being more I thought it was a good thing. Thankfully, I haven't been running around talking to dead people, and thankfully, although I thought that all these things were like God showing favour on you if you can do it, there's definitely a difference to being very awake spiritually in the right ways, as opposed to being very awake spiritually in the, I don't like to say right and wrong, but unfortunately when it boils down to it, there is definitely right and wrong when it comes to spiritual etiquette. And people are encouraged that things which actually are big no-nos, they're encouraged to, I've just realised, I think that this is filming me back to front again. Let me just bear with me a moment whilst I see if I can switch this around without. Nah. It did that to me last time. Oh no, maybe I'm the right way around. Yeah, sorry about that. It's just that according to this, it's telling me that fire's on. I'm going to pause it. Just bear with me 1 minute. All right, never mind. Well, this has got an annoying habit of doing a mirror reflection, and for some reason I'm having a moment. So just, what was I saying? Astral projection. Well, there's so many issues which I really want to talk about. Now, I might have to stop doing this because my friend's due in 15 minutes now. Always works out, time's always against. But I don't even know where to begin with this. But it does feel like maybe, I mean, yeah, I was just thinking maybe I should make another segment on it. But the reason why I want to mention it is because obviously it falls in with spiritual abuse and New Age philosophies encourage astral projection in a huge way, and it's really problematic. Obviously, you've got people experiencing all sorts of problems, from rape to yeah, like I don't even know where to begin. But there is a real problem with people seeming to think it's okay to violate people in that way. Not only that, you've got couples that think it's okay to, if they can't be together physically, then to be together astrally, and all of this, it's going against basic, like, universal laws. You shouldn't be doing stuff like that. It's crazy. And I can't imagine, like, what it's doing to your sorry, I thought someone was outside. Yeah, it's a real problem. And because I've not got much time, what I'm going to try and make really clear is, putting all that aside for just 1 minute, this is connected, but over the years I've had quite a lot of people come to me who have been practicing various Eastern religions, such as Buddhism, or well, that's a great example, or just quite new agey types of ways of thinking, and they've been having massive problems with demonic activity and with astral sexual abuse, both male and female. I've had people over the years come to me. I've also had men come to me who are addicted to sexual activities with succubuses, which are the demonic entities that will try and sleep with you or do sexual things with you. Of course, all this is really about energy. I think it is anyway. I just want to say, the way that I guide people out of this, which does work, once we can get away from the whole idea of religion, because religion, obviously, being so corrupt, it scares people. If you can get away from the idea of religion in the forms which we're taught it, we're taught it in a way which is abusive, which of course puts people off, and I get that, I really do, you know. But if you're experiencing anything like this, if you can just, you don't even need to necessarily, I'm not saying you've got to run out and buy a Bible and start trying to be a Christian. all you really need to do is just open your heart the tiniest little bit to let Christ in. I mean, for example, if you are in the middle of a sleep paralysis episode, or if any kind of demonic or astral or any of this, if any of these supernatural elements are happening to you in your life and disturbing you, all you need to do is call for Christ's protection. For example, help. Jesus, help. That's all you need to do. If you ask, then you will get help. And people who want to keep you away from Christ and away from the truth will say, "I'll go get this crystal," or "do this bathing salt," and all this kind of stuff. That's basically like witchcrafty type stuff, which isn't going to really help you. All you need to do is just give it a go. Like, mention Jesus' name and ask for help, and you will get that help. And if you can just try, you've got nothing to lose. If you can just try and see, and then, well, you'll see that it works, and the demonic attacks will, if they happen, you've got protection, because there it is. That's all you need to do. You just ask for the help and you get that protection. And it sows a seed, and seeds grow. And all I'm going to say to finish really is, if you try, and you don't, I'm not asking you to necessarily understand everything now, but if you're experiencing problems, and if you're experiencing attacks and all the rest of it, and you're prepared to ask for that help, well, please do it. But I also want to say, I'll make some more videos, but you all can message me. My email is ninavalentine34@gmail.com. Or you're probably better really just to Facebook message me, because I don't always check my emails. Just to Facebook message me, and then if you want to send me or just to say you sent me an email, and then I'll know to check my emails. I'm always happy to help people in any way that I can, because I do get spiritual abuse. I might not be explaining myself so well now, because I feel like there was so much to try and cover and not very much time. Like, I'm still talking now, but my friend that's coming, she's so punctual, and so I do not see her being late, and it's like 24 minutes past 2 now. So basically we'll kind of leave it at that. And I hope this has been some help, jumbled as I feel like it has been, but I'll upload it, and I can add more to it. Hopefully I haven't missed too much out. I'll have a quick look at my notes. So you're talking about those organised. I've upgraded my webcam thing, so you can make presentations, and it said that you could like add pictures and all sorts in, and I thought, oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna like put pictures in of these nuns, which these what were they called again? Sisters of Indulgence or something. Sisters of a Perpetual Indulgence. Yeah, they dressed as clowns, which I thought was really interesting, because the demonic force, there's a demonic force which is behind all this, and they really do use the clown look a lot. So I wanted to put pictures in and make it into like a bit of a presentation, except unfortunately that didn't go to plan because I couldn't work out how to mix the two together. Anyhow, I think what I'm going to do, like I said, is wrap this up, and let's just quickly see if there's anything here that I've made or that I missed. Oh yeah, some people think, like, how come Christianity is the only way? Oh, look at my cat. Well, the truth is you can get free without being a Christian. I'm not saying you have to be a Christian to get to deprogram. You can deprogram without being a Christian. You're just limiting yourself a little bit because you're cutting off your spiritual side. So yeah, you can physically deprogram. You don't have to. But for the people who do embrace the spiritual side, which many, I mean, most of my friends, I don't know anybody actually who, well, apart from family members, who don't embrace the spiritual side. It's just very dangerous when you're trying to embrace your spiritual side, but doing so in ways which don't include any real spiritual truth, because then you're open to all this demonic influence, which obviously we need protection from that. The real protection from that is hidden from most of us, because most people are programmed to see Christ as a trigger, you know, to close your mind, to not be able to hear it, and to run, even though you're not doing it physically. This is all going on. I want to just show you something actually. Check this out, because this is a rather like how the world wants people to be. So this to me is like the perfect way to describe dissociation. You've got yourself, and then you've got all of the splits. And I'm not saying that everybody's got multiple personality disorder or I can't even say it, dissociative identity disorder, but you can look at it however you want. Like, this can be past selves, your childhood selves, be bits of you that you're not in touch with. I just thought, what a great app to show like people's memories, you know, because you don't have to have DID in its pure form as medically described to dissociate. You know, if something bad happens, say for example you get raped, and yeah, you remember that rape, you haven't like developed a split personality as a result of that. However, it's something that you don't really have within you the whole time, because it's probably like out there, floating around in a part of your mind which you don't access that often, because why would you want to sit and think about that all the time? So, like past memories, good or bad, they're not at the foreground all the time. So we all have like dissociative tendencies. It's actually taught to us at a very early age to be like that. For example, a parent could say to you, go upstairs to your room and don't come back until you're in a good mood, or something like that. And so whatever it is that you're upset about, you're being told to forget about and not come back until you're behaving and not being that way. So it's quite trippy, all these little me's floating around the screen. Yeah. anyhow, I think we're going to definitely end now. My friend's late. No, she's not. It's bang on past, so the door will go doosh, doosh, doosh any minute. So, yeah, we're definitely going to finish now. And is there anything else that I've not covered? I'm sure there was something else I was going to say. There was something else I was going to say. This, again, is quite a good representation of it. Because a lot of people think that people who call themselves Christians are really close-minded because they're discounting all the other religions. Well, that's because all of the other religions are a corruption taken to keep you away from Christ, and your spiritual focus. I'm going to have to switch these people off. They are very annoying. Bye-bye all those little Ninas. That's better. Yeah, it's to keep you, to keep your focus away from Christ. Say, for example, and I'm not just saying, like, obviously, like I've already said, religion is infiltrated. Religion is massively problematic. Look at the Catholic Church. You've got all these idols which you're meant to be worshipping. Again, keeps you away from Christ. But yeah, of course, all the other religions have elements of truth within them, but they are there to keep you away from the real truth and the real way to spiritual freedom. And so, you know, it's problematic, to say the least. All right, on that note, I'm going to end. I know I've covered a lot here, and I know I've really have tried to fly through it. But I hope that I've not done too bad a job. And should we just see if little Ben wants to say hi? Ben, come here, little one. Come on, he's all sleepy. Oh, should I be really mean and like make him come and say, oh, come on, little one. Oh, let's just say hello to everybody. Oh, he's all caught in my, oh, I'm a meanie, but he got caught in my scarf there. Good boy. Let's just zoom in. Good boy. Got his eyes closed. Love you, darling. What a sweetie. Alright then, we're going to go now. My friend's coming and then we're going to go for a walk, but we're going to film it, hopefully. Bye bye. Good boy.